if we operate on tracks and have people on tracks that are live, because again, it causes a great danger to both the responder and also to people trying to get on and off the trains. So we requested that power off. The MTA complied with that, and we're able to start to begin evacuations of the folks on the train. Thankfully, in this case, as the trains collided, like they were talking about, my counterparts were talking about, we were able to coordinate together and get all of those folks off of the train without any large-scale significant injuries from that. I'll let EMS speak about the injuries in a second. But again, it takes, in these scenes, whenever we have multiple agencies operating, what's great about that is everyone comes together and makes it happen, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal in mind, and that's for all of us to go home safe and for all the people of the city of New York who ride in our subways to go home safe. And again, that's hopefully what we got done here today. So I'll let EMS talk about the injuries.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Deputy Assistant Chief Ian, IAN Swords, SWORDS. This afternoon around 3 o'clock, EMS received multiple 911 calls reporting a train derailment. Upon our unit's arrival here on the scene, they were met with several patients, knowing that there was a train involved and the potential number of patients that could entail. They began multiple casualty incident triage, where we check every person as they come off the train for injury, and if they are injured, for the severity of injury. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured. The injuries that were sustained were consistent with a low-speed train derailment, and all of those patients have been removed to area hospitals.
How many people total in that car?
I'm sorry? Excuse me?
How many people total were in that car?
I don't know.
I was told that each train had about 300 to 500 people on it. We had to evacuate the one train, and then we also had to evacuate a train that was in the tunnel behind it through that original train.
And we had a total of 24 people injured out of those numbers.
Yeah, and just to be clear on Chief, so the train that derailed, about 300 or so folks were on that. What the Chief was referencing is there was a train behind it, was not involved in the incident, but was stuck. We brought that in here to 96th Street. That had another 300-400 customers on it as well. They were evacuated safely. So the incident train had a couple hundred folks, as best we can tell, but we evacuated at least one other train as a result of the power being shut down. And then the other, so the two incident trains, one was in revenue service that had a couple hundred folks, as the Chief said, that was evacuated. The other train was empty of customers. 4 employees were on that train. That was a train that was disabled, that had been vandalized, and they were trying to fix it.
All right, other questions? Who's got it? Anybody?
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Was this operator error, or was there a switch problem? Where did the breakdown happen?
Yeah, so we're going to look at all those factors, obviously. Switch signal. At this point, there's nothing, or in equipment, there's nothing to suggest that it was equipment related. We will obviously look at human factors as well. I think it's a little too early to tell, but at this point, from what we can tell, the equipment was working as intended.
Yes, sir.
Is it true that some people were evacuated from the incident train by being taken onto the empty work train?
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Let me EMS want to explain it? Or Fire, you want to explain that?
They were evacuated.
Yep.
What was the question again, just so I get it?
True. Some folks are telling us that they were evacuated by being taken onto the empty work train that initially hit them.
Sure. So in order, like the biggest thing with whenever we're evacuating people from one of these trains, again, we don't want them down on the tracks, right? The tracks create a hazard, right? Uneven ground. We don't know, again, the condition of who we have walking on those trains. So our main goal, as always, is to do a structural assessment of the trains. In this case, we found that they were both structurally okay for us to walk on and evacuate people through. So we'd rather keep people off that track bed and keep them on the trains and get them back to the platform. It just makes for a much easier, smoother evacuation and a much quicker one to get people off the trains.
So through that work train, they were able to get to the platform?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah.
Was the number one train using the new CBT CityLink system?
No. Not that I'm aware of. No, yeah, there's no CBTC on the number one. So no, there's no CBTC on the number one.
All right. Anybody else?
Can you talk a little bit about how many cars were derailed? And then second, can you talk about security? Because you said that this train was vandalized. The cars were cut. You're coming off of people getting into
Well, hold on. I didn't take it for a joyride, but so there's a lot of narrative there. What's your question?
So, can you talk about security? 'Cause
Sure.
You mentioned that this is vandalized.
Yeah.
Want to just jump on that?
Yeah, Chief, why don't you take that? Yeah.
So, as far as security, I opened up with when this occurred, we had NYPD cops in the station. They were on scene within seconds. They were here before 911 was even called. So, if you want to talk about security, at least today in this station, 2 cops were on scene.
We're talking about car reports that were cut before that had this train out of service.
Well, that's to be determined. I mean, that's
That's what I was.
right. That's to be determined as far as what occurred with that. That's an investigation. We don't have the answers for that yet. But as far as security in this station here, we had cops here.
All right, anybody
How
else?
many cars? How many cars?
Last question. Go ahead.
How many cars in that train?
10 cars.
8 cars.
10 cars.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.